We're back here today on another episode of the DJK podcast. Today I'm sitting with Halina.
Hey
She's our
guys.
lead designer at Refined Design, which is kind of that whole other branch of our company at DJK Custom Homes, where we've really taken the design side of the business and married it together with the custom home side of the business to
Yep.
really kind of amplify what we're delivering out there on our product.
Yeah,
Uh,
super excited to be here.
yeah, so to kind of talk through things, why we want to come to you today is really just talk about from a high level what it means to have design services as part of our umbrella here at DJK Custom Homes,
Yeah.
with Refined Design. So Helena, I guess, just talk to us like kind of high level, what are design services, right?
Yeah.
And what does that all entail?
Yeah, I mean, refined design is fairly new to DJK. I mean, I think what we've been here partnering together for gosh, I guess
Yeah,
time goes by,
hard
but
to
three
keep
years?
track of time, but
I
yeah,
don't know.
something like that, 3 years.
Um, anyway, so, I think it's so important that we established an in-house design studio for DJK because the design is so much of, the home. And I think a lot of people struggle with it, quite honestly, and it's not something they do every day. So essentially it's like we're asking people to come in, build a house, something that again, most people don't do more than once. I mean, we have
Yeah.
some people that do it, but and we're asking them like to do it themselves, essentially. I mean,
Mhm.
not obviously pick up a hammer and nail and build a
Yeah, but there's
house.
a ton of decisions to be made in building a house, right? It's
Right,
like,
right. And I think that people are, used to, maybe going to a home goods, picking up a new lamp or, picking out a new couch at
picking a paint color, for a room
some
that might be remodeling, whatnot, if
right.
they're
But it's
gonna.
like so much bigger than that when you're talking about a whole house and you're talking about every single detail completely from scratch. And so we identified, right, the need to bring additional help to people and bring like this full service offering for clients so that we're not just building a house, but we're actually helping them make it absolutely what they want it to be and what they need it to be in their lives, right? And I think a lot of times people are building a house and they're just kind of going through the motions of like, okay, so now we got to pick lights and we got to fill a box, and it's more than that, right? It's like that's why design is so important because you have someone there to say, no, 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 stop. What are we using this room for? How are we living in this room? What do you have right now? And more importantly, what don't you have right now that's super annoying,
Yeah.
at home that you're missing and you need to now incorporate that into it. So it's a time to just stop and really design rather than just building a house and sticking cabinets and light fixtures in
Oh yeah. Because you see, and you guys being part of the team,
it.
right? You're hands on with our project managers on a daily basis too. So there's so much that people don't realize, when you're sitting in a room of how it all came together. And I think the importance of everyone being on the same page too, like having refined where you guys are directly correlated with our project managers out there in the field. So,
Yeah.
everything that needs to happen from what's behind the walls and how that's going to affect, everything you're designing into the project.
Yeah. I mean, think about it though. It's like it's so funny when you think about what we ask our clients to do without a designer,
Yeah.
right? It's like going into anyone else's field. And I mean, I wouldn't have the slightest clue of what to do in some of my clients'
Yeah.
professions, right?
Yeah.
But then we expect them to come here and have the knowledge to know all the
Yeah.
things.
And
No,
you could
you
look at
need
Pinterest
someone.
or you could look at House and,
Right.
pick some pictures out that you think you like. And it's like, okay, this is exactly what I want. But then when you start going into it, you're
To
like,
like
oh,
how
wait,
to
how do I
execute it.
actually like execute this
Right.
without saying I'm just picking every little thing I see here in the picture? Cause right. People are, have ideas from multiple sources. Right. And
Yeah.
it's bringing them all together and then bringing them together, in other rooms and
Oh
stuff and
yeah.
through the whole house.
Yeah.
Um,
It's funny because there are some times that you can see how just I wouldn't say it's not about being uneducated. It's just that this is not what you do, right? So then you'll have some clients that come up with concepts that really they think might work and you really need to have someone like DJK and Refined Design to just really be able to say, wow, that won't work, and here's why, and here's a different solution on how that can work. Because I think a lot of people don't think through all of the details and how it impacts everything, and they think very surface level, which is completely fine, right? But they sometimes think like, yeah, we should just be able to put a closet in there, right, in the
Yeah.
bathroom, and then you got to think about, well, there's certain codes, right, that
Yeah.
you have to adhere to, and distances you have to stay away from, and so that's what having a designer on your side is going to help with, is to not only bring, I think, a really elevated look to your house, because that's, I think, sometimes what lacks if people do it on their own.
Hmm.
There's not really, it's all new, right? So it looks nice because it's new,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look like it belongs in a magazine,
And they
right?
might have spent the same amount of money,
Right.
to achieve what they achieved, but it's kind of, it might be a hodgepodge of
Yeah.
ideas, right? And it
Right.
looks, like you said, it looks good, but it doesn't look as good once you walk into a project where you've seen, like
Mm-hmm.
I walk into some of the projects we're, doing, where you guys are doing full design services on, and there's just ideas in there that none of our clients,
Yeah.
5, 6 years ago had ever thought of. So like
Right.
just seeing, since we've, brought kind of that refined design aspect of the business in the last 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
the projects, when you walk into them, it's a totally different feel.
Yeah, they're definitely elevated. Yeah.
Yeah. So like from, obviously that's kind of talking a little bit about that marriage we have between the design services and the custom build. How does the process kind of work? Obviously we meet with a client up front, kind of talk about the home they'd like to build. Our sales team, kind of
Mm-hmm.
goes through the process with them and winds up, with a sale and um, with the design, a very rough design of a house. And we go through architectural, kind of design the home out. And then at what point does the refined design team kind of take the reins
Yeah. Well,
and run
first
with
we
it?
have to identify, if the client is willing to make the investment, right, to partner with Refined, right? Because there is an additional investment, obviously, and
Mhm.
sometimes people are surprised by that, right? And I say, well, it's an interior designer, right? You're paying for a designer. You wouldn't get that. You would have to pay for a designer if you sought one out anywhere else. So
Yes.
yes, you are going to have additional fees first off. So first, we want to understand, what investment, and we have some clients that want to do the whole house, as we've seen, and then there are some clients that are just wanting to focus on more of those areas that we have a lot. They have a lot of guests and that are seen more, which is completely great too, right? So first, we have a conversation about, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Where do you want to invest in? And then it's really, identifying their style. That's super important. Is I have to identify what it is that they like. So we always have a visionary meeting, and in that visionary meeting, we will come to a meeting with two images, maybe three tops, that I just want to see what you like,
Yeah.
right? And also I talk about, more importantly, what they don't like. I want to know what you don't like, because there are some really hard sticking points for people, right? I have some
Yeah.
people that are like, I will burn my house down if you put wallpaper in it. Straight up right now. And I'm just like, okay, I love wallpaper,
Yeah.
but that's okay. So I need to know what is going to be, those ideas that you really don't like.
At what point are you having this visionary meeting?
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right in the beginning, right? Because
So like once we've completed plans and
right,
whatnot,
once
and
we've
you've got
completed
working set
plans,
of
right?
plans.
Because if you have a vision that you're sending to me that has really intricate wall paneling, or beams, I can tell there's heavy beam work, right? Those are things that we need to know right away, because we need to identify other aspects that those affect. There are going to be there's going to be electrical that's impacted with that, right? Where are we putting light fixtures? Where are we putting switches based on millwork or beam work? That it is going to end up, having a ripple effect too, and impacting. So we always want to have this meeting early on, so I know, are we doing a straight up modern design? Are we doing a really heavy traditional design, with heavy paneling? So it kind of gets that mindset early on what to know to expect when we're doing the plans. Yeah.
And how would you say, like, client involvement. Obviously, we're taking the lead on
Mm-hmm.
guiding the client
Yeah.
professionally through what it's going to take to, deliver a high end product that looks like the photos they want, might have
Mm-hmm.
envisioned, or
Mm-hmm.
like the vision they have in their mind. What involvement is there from a client when client is, going and paying for design services, and what are they responsible for,
Yeah.
and how is that kind of process guided with them?
Their responsibility, say we did a kitchen, their responsibility is really just to tell me their needs and wants
Hmm.
and have that visionary meeting. From there on out, really, we're taking care of everything.
Hmm.
And I always say this to clients too. It's not like you're losing the reins. It's not like you're losing control, right? Because that's a lot of things that people have a little apprehension about too, is that they want the excitement too. They're building a house. This is super exciting. I don't want them to feel like they're not part of the process. And that's not how that it is at all. They still have absolute full control. They're in the driver's seat. We're just the ones that are making sure that it's implemented correctly and all the details are there that work together. So really their involvement is showing up for the visionary meeting. We do all of the cabinet plans. We'll put together a design board. We'll often put together full renderings so people can really visualize what it looks like. And then they come back and it's really a yes and no game, right?
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, you nailed it. Or, hey, we need to tweak this and this. And then we do a couple of rounds of revisions until they absolutely love it. And that really helps the clients. And we always say it's time saving. It's not necessarily time saving in the sense that like I can whip up a design overnight. It's not time saving in that sense. It's time saving for you mentally
Oh yeah,
to
sitting there for
not be
countless
sitting there
hours.
in on Pinterest like late
Yeah.
at night at 12 o'clock and thinking, I don't know, maybe I should do white cabinets, maybe I
Yeah.
should do dark.
And then you think
It's
you decided on something, and then the next morning you wake up and you see another, a different
right.
picture, and it's like
Oh
your
yeah.
whole world's tipped upside down, right? And you're
Yeah.
just like wondering,
It's
all right, did
saving,
I
yeah,
make any of the right decisions? Do I need to
exactly.
start from square one?
I mean, you
You
know how
know?
long you can scroll
Oh
for
yeah.
sconces and pendants? It's like you can scroll, just doom scroll for hours.
And then you might find, a sconce or pennant after you've found, after you've kind of thought you've settled on these other decisions. Next thing you know, you're like, well, now I don't know if this like picture even goes with what
Oh, for
I
sure.
settled for over here. So
Oh,
now do
for
I need to
sure.
revisit those and
And a lot
change that?
and a
And
lot of times people are just even looking for the wrong things
yeah,
too, right? Like island pendants, you might spend hours scrolling on Light Source's website for the perfect pendant, and then afterwards you'll come to a meeting with me if you're not doing design services, and I'll probably be like, "You
yeah,
sure you want to put that pendant in? It's only 10 inches.
yes.
It's really tiny." And they've got the wrong scale, and so
So you mentioned if you're not doing design services. So let's touch on that a little bit, right?
yeah.
So obviously design services are kind of an optional thing,
Hmm.
and clients choose to, do design services in a room or two or a full home.
Hmm.
Now, if clients are not doing design services, or they're doing design services in select, areas of home, how
Hmm.
does the, I guess, selections process work
Yeah.
in that regard on clients that aren't opting for design services?
So it's so funny because I still do selections with DJK, obviously. And so there are clients that don't do design services. And I see a huge difference in the approach and the process. The approach with us when we do design services is we're looking at a room in its entirety. We are hyper focused on that room and we're making sure all the components work together, right? We've got a game plan, we've got a blueprint for the design. When I see clients that come in and they're doing their own design, I'm not kidding you. Half the time, I don't even see them with whatever cabinet sample they selected when they're choosing their countertops, or they don't have their tile selection. I would never be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that I would be able to make sure that everything looks cohesive unless I have a roadmap of all the other components that are going on in that room. And so that's what I feel like a lot of people do is they're just picking stuff they
Yeah,
like.
because when they're not doing design services, we're still guiding them through the
Hmm.
selections process, and
Yeah.
taking down what they've decided, right?
Yeah.
Giving them pricing for
Yeah,
upgrades they might have
absolutely.
decided on, and things like that, and putting it all together in Builder Trend, where they ultimately make all the final decisions on those items, but we're not actually
We're not designing for them.
designing it for them, where
Yeah.
we're saying like, hey, you just give us, because in design services essentially we're saying like, hey, you give us your ideas of what your, general scope of what you're thinking, and we're going to hit the ground running for you, and we're going to create, something just unimaginable that really wouldn't have been able to come up with yourself, right,
Right.
with the experience. And where if they're doing kind of selections on their own, where they're making all the decisions and we're just guiding them through
Exactly.
pricing and
I always say that
getting all those things.
we're guiding you.
Yeah.
When we're not doing design services, we're guiding you, but we're not designing for you.
Yeah, we're
Those are
guiding you
that's
through the process,
right.
right? And making sure it all happens in a certain
Right.
fashion, getting pricing,
We'll
getting
tell you
selections.
here's the vendor meetings that you need to schedule and go out to.
Yeah.
But again, I think that that's part of the problem sometimes people have is when they're on their own, they have these vendor meetings that they're going out to. And then it's like, okay, lighting meeting, for example. It's like, okay, we're going to do lighting today.
Yeah.
And they're just there just to fill a box that's on the electrical plan rather than thinking, wait, how are we using this room? Where is my furniture going in this room?
Yeah.
What about that big art piece that we have? Shouldn't we put a nice picture light above it? And so people aren't thinking in the future
Yeah.
enough to know what to do in these stages. And so that's where we help is we really learn about how are we using this room? What's going in it? And what do we need to make sure that is there when you go to plug in that computer on your desk and then you realize, oh shoot, I've got this cord now draping
Yeah.
over the side of my desk. We probably should have planned a little bit
Yeah.
better
Because
for
when you're
this.
doing design services, you're doing schematics, cabinet
Mhm.
drawings, and you're figuring all that out. And from
Yeah.
experience, you're knowing like, hey, these are the hurdles we're gonna run, right?
Right. Like
Um,
how is this plugging in? We don't want these ugly cords after the fact just draping over your new brand new home.
yeah, there's so much to it, like, 'cause you're
Right.
bringing different pieces together, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, I've been in some of the projects we've done, heritage place that you've designed, and even looking at like the amount of lighting that goes into a room that you might be designing. It's like
Mhm.
not only you're not just talking, hey, you got two pennant lights over your
No. Got
island
lighting.
or a couple can lights. It's like,
Right.
there's lighting everywhere
Oh
and
yeah.
underneath cabinets, uplighting cabinets,
Mhm.
focus, art piece, highlighting art pieces on the wall,
Right.
sconces, and everything is
Yeah.
so critical that everything comes together as a complete vision, you
Right.
know, um, and just having the experience that you guys have and having designed many projects, you guys really know what to look for, what hurdles you might run into. And
Yeah.
obviously, even with all the experience, still run into hurdles, but they're always overcoming.
I think what's painful sometimes when they're not doing design services is just seeing the opportunity lost, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, you've got this brand new build and you've got this opportunity to make it something so cool. And you're gonna just put a vanity light
Yeah.
over the mirror.
Yeah. I've definitely walked into some project where I'm like, oh, you might see a house that looks extremely modern, cool from the outside, and then you walk in, you're like, oh man, like this.
Yeah,
I was expecting, more, but
right,
a lot of times that maybe what happened when some of it's personal taste, right? Some people just
right.
their tastes aren't the same as yours or I.
Yeah.
But
But that's also
but
with us too. It's like we do have to be a chameleon
yeah.
of style, right? Because there is a lot of different styles out there right now. I feel like modern is having its moments,
Hmm.
and this like transitional modern is having its moment, which is great. But there are still people that come in, they want their traditional and they want their modern, I'm sorry, their rustic,
Yeah.
right? So we got a couple projects like that going on. And so you do have to be this chameleon of style and you have to really learn what they like and what they want
Yeah.
so that you're not trying to um just take what your style is and force it on
Oh
them.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And
So
that's
that's
like,
important
yeah,
too.
we are to that point. We're always designing for different styles. I think you have like a mountain lodge going right now. You've
Mhm.
got ultra modern. You've got
Mhm.
transitional. So it's taking what the customer wants and adding our expertise to it essentially
Mhm.
and pulling it all together.
Yeah.
What would you say the most common rooms you're designing are typically like? Do
Oh,
people
it's
start
super
with
easy.
the
Yeah.
kitchen and then
Always.
you
Yeah.
know?
Kitchen, master bathroom are the two biggest spots. But you know what people don't do and that I feel like is missed? Powder rooms.
Yeah.
I mean, your guests are always going to be using that powder room, right? So while you will enjoy the master bathroom design, I feel like the powder room doesn't get enough attention. And so I would always say, then there are some
And
things that I'm super strong about too, right? Like, so I will also, um, I'll also provide my feedback on just what I'm super passionate about, even though I'm not trying to force you into it, but just again from experience, like a Heritage Place, smart lighting, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's a 5-story row home.
yeah.
You know how annoying it would be
Try to
to leave the
find
basement lights on and you're all the way up on the rooftop and you're like, oh man,
or
it's
some
your
of
turn to
these,
turn the
yeah.
lights
And
off.
some of these homes where we have a lot of detail accent lighting, you don't just have 2 switches for a room, you might have
Oh yeah.
10 switches per room
Right.
because you got accent lights everywhere. That's where it becomes really important, that smart
Right.
lighting, right? So
Right.
you're able to just set scenes
Yes.
and and handle it all that way.
Right. So there are certain things again, just like you said from our experience that clients aren't going to think of because it's not their everyday thought, but it's something that, hey, don't forget, or like, hey, did you ever consider this, and this? And a lot of times people appreciate that. And I always say in my meetings, hey, I am not here to sell you anything.
Yeah.
I I don't care what you do or don't put in your house. I mean, of course I care because I want it to look good if we're designing it, but I'm not there to push product. I'm here to just bring up a lot of options for you because a lot of times people close on their house and they're like, oh man, I forgot. I wish I knew or wish someone said something to me about this. I would have done that. And so we're always trying to give people options.
I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that was kind of a good like high level view of like what our design services are.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we're gonna chat on future episodes of,
Mm-hmm.
in detail. There's so many different pieces you can go into detail, whether it's talking about just exteriors in specific or just even
Yeah.
talking about just a kitchen or a master bath.
Yeah.
Um, other exciting stuff we have this year. I know we're kind of opening up that new design center right off of Washington in Naperville.
Yeah, that's
That
gonna
should
be
be
super
exciting, right?
exciting. Oh, exciting for us because we at 532 here, our selection showroom, as many people who have worked with us, is downstairs in the basement. So from
Yeah.
a from a personal standpoint, I just want the natural light too. But
Yeah.
but no, I'm so excited because it is going to be a space that's just dedicated for selections. We're going to have a lot more room for the way that we're designing it right now. We're gonna have a lot more room to bring in a lot of selections and options for clients to physically look at. So that's super exciting. But yeah, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a great working space where I
Yeah.
think clients will just feel comfortable with and have all the visuals that they need in order to be able to feel comfortable
Yeah, it'll
making
be a nice
selections.
kind of quiet space for you guys to do your thing over there and meet with clients, design the interior, exteriors of the homes,
Yeah,
and it's
no.
just down the block from our main model, so
Oh yeah,
we're gonna be right
absolutely.
here, walking distance.
Right. I
Maybe
mean,
just snag a
it's
golf cart or something.
yeah, exactly. We'll need a golf cart for sure.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be good because yeah, like you said, it's right around the corner and we still need to be, lockstep with our project
Oh yeah.
managers. I mean, that's another thing that's so huge with us is just
Just
even
being in
being
tune with the
able
project
to
managers, and the
right
construction team,
and
and
the
that's where
construction.
circling back to having design services in house, it really makes it quite nice in that regard because it's like there's stuff that happens on site where we need clarification on something
Oh yeah.
and it's the same project management team, same design team that's always working together, so you know how you guys work, who's going to pick up which ball
Right.
and solve problems.
Right.
And I think that's huge. We've obviously
So
worked
huge.
with outside designers too.
Oh yeah. They just don't know our
Periodically our
process
client
too.
will have a designer already, and uh, it's a little bit more of a rocky road.
It for sure is a rocky road. I mean, that part of
Ice
it.
cream.
What's that?
Makes me hungry for ice cream.
So, no, it is.
Bumpy road, I
Yes.
think I meant to say that.
We do have that huge advantage. I mean, that is so huge, I think, is to have the in-house design team that also works with the project managers. You know how many times we've had a designer come in or
Yeah,
something and just and I get it. There are some people that have the past relationship with another designer, they want to bring it
yeah.
in. but they don't know our process, right? They don't know what stage we're at. They don't know when we need selections done. I mean, yes, we tell them, but they actually really don't understand
And they're not
ours.
working directly with our our vendors
Oh
like
yeah.
you guys are, right?
I
If
mean,
you have a clarification needed, you're calling whether it's,
yeah,
John at Performance Flooring or any of our other vendors
right,
and kind of figuring out exactly what's needed and
right.
exactly how you're going to overcome hurdles or
Yeah, I can't tell you
get
in
everything to work
meetings
together.
how many
So,
times I'm like, let me phone a
yeah.
friend,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like speed dial, right? It's like,
Yeah.
hey John, and he's like, ah, hey Lena,
Yeah.
and it's just like, it's so good to have that working relationship because it's so important, especially when you're doing design services, to make sure that your trades are absolutely in tune with all the details that you're trying to plan,
Yeah.
so that if there are any roadblocks, they're right there to be able to tell you like, we need this and this and this or
And that's
whatever.
where it pays to, with how long of standing relationships we've had with all of our trades.
Yeah.
Um, because you can't just build, it's not just our team here at, that works in the model. It's everyone in the field, every individual that's building our homes, that's out there working for the client. We
Yeah.
all have the same common vision, but
Mhm.
we didn't just acquire that overnight. We've been working together for a long time. So
Oh, yeah.
our vendors know what our expectations are,
Mhm.
how they work,
Mhm.
and their guys that are working underneath them know our expectations. Which is high level,
Yeah.
detailed. We're very detail oriented,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
but it brings together that product. So obviously, you guys are creating very detailed space, right, and design, but then in the field, from just the DJK brand, we're bringing that to fruition in a detailed way and quality construction too. So
Mhm.
it all kind of flows together
Yeah, no,
perfectly.
it's great. It's like everyone's literally one family. I mean, we call each other and talk to each other multiple times a day, right? And
Yeah,
it's just that's so huge because you're comfortable, right? Have you ever had a relationship where you're just surface level and you feel like you still have to have the formalities
yeah,
there? And
yeah.
whereas, like, with our
You don't know.
trades,
You get someone's word, and you don't know if it's going to happen or
oh,
not.
for
So
sure,
yeah,
right? And with us, we can just be shooting it straight
yeah,
and just be like, what are you talking about
yeah,
here? Or,
yeah,
we just call them out, or it's just good. And you
yeah.
need that in order to
Great
really
relate.
deliver a product that you envisioned. And again, to the quality that
Yeah,
DJK needs it at.
yeah. Well, excellent. I think that was a good kind of high level conversation
Mm-hmm.
on talking about design services. I'm sure we'll have many more conversations
Yeah.
to come on kind
Right.
of the details of diving into each specific
Right.
segment. But hey, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and
Yeah.
don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.